You are watching the Pan-African Daily TV with Dr. Susan Tata. The Africa we want: unity, consciousness, our culture, our spirituality, our history. One Africa for Africans worldwide. Motherlands calling its diaspora home. Join my voice. Join my team. Join my campaign. Campaign 21 hashtag 1 million subscribers on the Pan-African Daily TV YouTube. Be a volunteer. Apply now. Be the new Africa. Okay, good evening, all of you. Welcome to the Pan-African Daily TV this evening or morning, wherever you are, afternoons or night. We thank you for joining. A little bit late. I want to apologize as usual, and we're still waiting for one of our guests to join us. He's been having some technical difficulties with the camera. That is Honorable Olivia Kapamba. And this is the third time, unfortunately, that we are having such constraints having him on the show. But as you can see, we have Chongo is right here seated. He's a young Pan-Africanist. He's not a new person on the Pan-African Daily TV. You all know him from Zambia as one of the very, very active young leaders out there advocating for the Africa we want, being the voice out there for young Pan-Africanists, and it's also very, very active on the Rapid Africa Plan. So we are thanking all of you for joining this conversation tonight. We want to look at the post-elections in Zambia because Zambians have been celebrating their victory for a couple of days now, and most of us actually don't have an overview about this current leadership. And so we want to hear what the people are talking about it. Is it going to be another sing-song? Winning an election is one thing, but I mean, keeping to those promises is another thing. So we have seen all this kind of jubilations, particularly when a leader wins an election on the continent of Africa, but in the process of actually exhibiting or executing these promises that were made, it has always become a different story. So we hope that Zambians are not going to be disappointed in this leadership. And we also know that the president now, or the elected, democratically elected president, Excellency Hakainde, is somebody that has also been on the political trail for a while and has missed, I think, 5 episodes of being in the leadership up till now. So we think that, or we hope, or Africans are hoping that he has learned a lot from the process and through his experiences, and he would do, actually the job. But we also know that Zambia is a critical country, particularly with its own challenges, right? We look at the GPD, we look at the poverty rate, we look at the unemployment rate, for instance, right? Despite the opportunities out there. Now, the question is, all the promises that the incumbent president, Excellency Edgar Lungu, made, to create more jobs and to pump some, to elevate the economy, has not yielded. And so Zambians were totally disappointed that the so-called promises were not made. But another one thing that we would like to examine today, or to listen today, is, or even to congratulate the Zambians. For once in a lifetime, we are seeing this kind of fair and free elections. Without, after elections, you see people being incarcerated or people jump up to the street. So that's a new form of the Africa that we want. And we think that Zambia is actually putting out a positive landmark out there. I mean, we saw the quote of even a president candidate for Kenya, Excellency Raila Odinga, who actually tweeted and say, yes, Zambians are actually making Africans proud. And so the kind of leadership that Africa is looking forward, it's not the leadership that they current presidents would always deny the victory or the election's result. That is not the case in Zambia. As we have noticed, we see both presidents meet together, they give a handshake, and the outgoing president actually, in a good state of humor. Yeah. So we don't know how long this relationships are going to last, and how the collaboration between the opposition and the main party is going to look like in Zambia. But we are actually anticipating. But tonight we want to listen to the voices of advocates out there, young Pan-Africanists. What is it that they would not be disappointed or they are not expecting to happen in this current elections right now? So welcome to the show, Mr. Chongo, and it's a pleasure to have you here. I'm really sorry I hear you're running your nose out there the whole time. How are you feeling? How are you doing?
Thank you so much, and I'm feeling much better. And I really appreciate that you extended your invitation to me, that I appear on this platform today to share, our how we are feeling here as Zambians in during after this election. Thank you so much.
Yeah, but what is wrong with you? Is it because of the too much jubilation and the celebrations that you caught a cold, or what happened? Have you been down for a while?
Yes, I spent almost 3 days out there, celebrating, moving up and down here and there. And, and I just came back home yesterday, and just to realize that, oh my God, my whole body was not myself. And yeah, those are the results of excitement when you are too much, into something. You can also want to express yourself in a way that you have never expressed yourself before. And I'm sure that's the reason why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling today. But otherwise, I'm a happy person and proud to be a Zambian today.
Oh, okay. I mean, was it so terribly bad that, after these elections, you had to just like for 3 days on the spree, and we still see Zambians even today jubilating? Was the economy or the situation with the President Edgar Lungu, was it really a sad situation?
Yeah, of course, as a young person, speaking from the experience that I've had for a few years, and by the time the outgoing president became the president of the Republic of Zambia, I was not that much active into local politics,
Mm-hmm.
and I became so active after I started seeing some things which I considered not to be right
Mm-hmm.
for young people in Zambia. And if you may remember, at some point we were involved in some protests as young people when we felt that we were mistreated by some foreign investors, and so many things were happening at that time when we were involved in protests, the online protests. Some youths protested in the bush, and that shows the international community that there was something wrong, and we were not happy about that. So we kept on demanding from the government, and unfortunately, the government was reluctant to listen and act on what we were demanding for,
Mm-hmm.
and hence it forced us to protest in the vote. And when we saw this change, uh, it revived our spirits to say, oh, we now have hope in maybe the next regime. So that's why we are all excited to say, okay, we have finally achieved what we have been fighting for. Yeah.
Mm. All right. Can,
Mm.
can can you actually just in a very nutshell quote what is one aspect, like what was the cause of the protest?
Um, there was, I remember, if my memory serves me right, in 2019, 2020, uh, there was this mistreatment. We just came from the investors, the so-called investors who are the Chinese, and Zambians were treated more like they were foreigners in the country, and whoever tried to voice out was threatened by some government officials. And that angered a lot of us, and we demanded that we need to be heard, because we have we have been intimidated or made to live as if we are foreigners in our own land. So we needed to reclaim that freedom back, and the government seemed not to pay attention to us. That's why we resorted to protesting, to say we need our rights back, because this is our land, and when we voice out, we need to be heard. And that's why we saw a lot of these uprise from the youths, which led to the misunderstanding between the youths and the government.
All right. So it apparently it was like the former government did not pay attention to the youth. Was this present president reacting to the situation to calm it down, or to make some promises that it's not going to be the same?
Yeah, of course, the president responded, and even the way the president responded to our cry wasn't in a way that we expected as young people. I remember the president, because most of the youths who protested were us, the activists, and some artists. And in what was later realized that the president was trying to silence our voices, he called on the something which he termed as the empowerment, and he called upon the artists and gave them some empowerment, which we were still not satisfied, because even the way it was done, it was something which was given to only those who sang praises to the government, and who are considered to be, those affiliated to the government. And we were still not happy. We felt that still our demands were not answered to, because most of the things which we raised to the government was that the cost of living was going high, and there was lack of employment, like employment opportunities and even business opportunities themselves, they were not there. And you'd find that the system which was there in the past government somehow favored the foreign investors rather than empowering the local ones. So those were the demands, but the response was a misplaced one, because they resorted to empower the artists and empower some youths who we saw that these were affiliated to the ruling party, and they did not demand anything, because, and to make matters worse, when they were given that, we didn't see anything which they did tangible to improve the lives of those marginalized citizens of the Republic of Zambia. So that did not change anything. The response from the government did not change anything, and we still maintained our position that the government still needed to do more to improve the lives and of those marginalized citizens of Zambia.
This is interesting and somehow very, very strange. If you look at, you ask for a demand, and then, envelopes are circulating to people that are rioting. I mean, did you see some changes in the reforms, like everything that you table, particularly in this case of the mistreatment of the Zambians by foreigners, by Chinese in Zambia, and nothing was addressed? Has the situation changed?
As you may be, as I said, that we demanded that the lives of Zambians must be improved and the Zambians must be protected from these foreigners. But, what we saw at that time was the silencing of those, or who we can call the whistleblowers, and those who voiced out. So we had the government threatening or making some government officials who stood by the side of the citizens to protect the citizens being silenced and made to apologize to the Chinese and the other investors. So that does not mean that the government solved anything, because those who blew the whistles were silenced, which means this thing, we are just now, we are left with just speculations. Maybe it continued, but the whistleblowers were just silenced and this thing went on and on because no one can speak out. So we were not assured that this problem was solved. And up to now, I cannot stand here to say, I think maybe after the government issued some statements, we were assured to say this problem has been solved, because the whistleblowers and those who reported cases were shattered, like were made to were silenced, and the problem was not brought to us to prove to say this thing has been solved. So we can't say anything has been solved, but what we are demanding is what we still demanded up to the day we went to the polls, was that we need the foreigners to respect the lives of the citizens, and which we are still demanding even now to the next regime, which is the incoming government.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. If you look at I mean, I want to greet those that are joining us on the Pan African Daily TV YouTube, particularly this afternoon. And yesterday we had a very, very difficult times connecting with our guest who was supposed to be with us on the panel yesterday to do to carry on the solidarity actions for Haiti. And I think we did do a little bit of what we could do today to put that stream out there. So the solidarity for Haiti continues the whole week. And we'll be sharing some very important links with our viewers that would be connecting or are connecting for those that would like to support. And we're calling really on each and every one of us to reach out to our brothers and sisters in Haiti that have been affected from the earthquake, and most have lost their lives. Most are in rescue centers. They don't have homes. They don't, most have lost their families completely. So we are hoping that we will reach out to Haiti. Even we're not going to solve the problem, but at least showing a solidarity is part of the philosophy of our togetherness and our unity. I keep losing him also on his camera. I don't know. It is absolutely crazy out here. And I think Oliver Kapamba is in. Not yet. Um, anyway, we would continue the conversation while we get him. So I think he's he's waiting that you allow him to join. You have to give him access to join. So all right. So what is the difference, Chongo, from your point of view? What do you think that this present government would do better than the past?
Yes, expectations from this government, the incoming government, are high because, the government of the nation of Zambia has been through a lot for the past 10 years, which some of the commentators and political analysts have been quick to call it the West decade or the lost decade in the history of Zambia. You are aware, or maybe you may have heard of the reports of rampant corruption in the previous regime, and also the abuse of institutions, government institutions, and also, high levels of poverty in Zambia. And these are the key things which Zambians are crying for at the moment. And, the incoming president, His Excellency Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, have assured the Zambians that he is going to work on all these challenges, which he pointed out to say, he have all policies in place which are aimed at, protecting the interests of the Zambian people. Because from the past 10 years of the leadership of the Patriotic Front in Zambia, it seems as if, the interest of the Zambians has been second. Therefore, it really didn't value much about the interest of the citizens. And that's why, we see a higher level of inequality in the government. The system only favored those who were affiliated to the ruling Patriotic Front. And this is what people have been crying for, to say we need equal share in the country. And the incoming government, we expect from the government that they will give that which people have been crying for and that which people deserves. We need Zambian youths who are unemployed, Zambian youths who really have the ability to produce and to be productive in the country, to be given opportunities. If it means they need to own shares in mines, you know that Zambia is the second, if not second, in the world producer of copper. They also need some equal shares or shareholders in the mining sector, those who need empowerment in the agriculture sector, those who need empowerment in different, economic spaces. They all need those opportunities, and this is what the incoming government have been, preaching to the Zambian people. That's why we had confidence to give them a mandate to show us what they have for us, and these are the expectations which we have from the government. Another thing which we really need as citizens is to see a government which allows institutions to operate and to save, to save the interests of the people, and also to promote the rule of law. Separation of power is what we need. We don't want the interference in the judiciary system, and also some arms of government like the Anti-Corruption Commission, the Financial Intelligence Commission, and also the Drug Enforcement Commission. These are the institutions which are mandated to ensure that the accountability is guaranteed in the governance systems, where the financial expenditure of the government is being monitored by the Financial Intelligence Commission, and also corruption is being, investigated, and those found wanting are prosecuted by the Anti-Corruption Commission. These are the things which people of Zambia are expecting from the incoming government. So if these institutions are strengthened, we are assured that Zambia will be a country that will be, that will be proud to live in, and will be proud, to call our motherland. Those are the expectations, some of the expectations. Of course, there are a lot, but those are the main things, because these institutions were not respected in the past regime.
Okay, I'm happy to hear, to see Honorable Kapamba joining us. Can you hear me? Oh, okay. Yeah, so we would keep trying to get him while we continue in the conversation. Thank you so very much, Chongo. I mean, this is exactly the new decade, and when did you have any fears, as if because after the elections were declared, we heard the incumbent president talking about the unfairness in the elections? Did you people anticipate something like he would not accept the result or the outcome?
Yeah, we all expected that, and I also thought that maybe the incumbent would petition the results. But in every election in Africa or anywhere, we witness all these disputes, and also where the other party or party A or party B claimed that this election was not free and fair, citing some, maybe violence. But I think we had this in mind. But even if the incumbent were to petition the election, in my view, it couldn't have add up to anything, because the people, it just showed, even the pattern of voting, it even showed that people are fed up with this regime. And even if the president were to petition and maybe call for a rerun, it could have been the same, because this is the election where citizens, it was not just an ordinary election, but citizens protested in the vote. You could see even the way people went to vote. Young people, graduates, went in their graduation gowns to go and cast their vote, which shows that these youths are frustrated with this regime. They need a government which will listen to them and which will provide opportunities for them. So it was not going to work. And I want to thank the incumbent, the outgoing president, His Excellency President Edgar Lungu, for conceding defeat and considering the people of Zambia first, or putting them first, because this, if he had decided to petition the election, what would have followed after that would have been something that could be very hard to contend, because people were already angry with his regime, and if they see that they are being tried to be blocked, anything could have happened in Zambia. But we thank the president that he quickly realized that he needed to preserve the peace, and give the respect the will of the people, that they decided and chose that which they wanted. And for this, I'm very proud of the president, the outgoing president, and wishing to see more from the incoming president. And I'm sure he's going to deliver that which people of Zambia have expected from him.
Absolutely. I think we are also of the opinion that we really actually thank him, because there would have been the situation in Uganda actually taking place in Zambia. And exactly like what you said, a lot of youths, I think 70% it's reported of young people are the ones that actually took to the polls. Now we see that every day happening, that most people would, or young people have given up their political responsibility for change. In other countries, particularly, young people actually are not motivated. They've just given up. They don't trust the governments and the system. They know that anyhow or whatever, they're going to steal the vote. And in most countries, particularly in the West African countries, where looting and stealing and breaking, and after the outcomes of elections, it's almost like it's a doorbell ringing every day on your door. So yes, but what actually we saw in Zambia is something different, and we're looking at this model to be the kind of a model that we would like to see, particularly in elections and challenges that would really result like that. So we really congratulate the incumbent president, and we hope that not only just giving a handshake or conceding to that elections would make actually a difference, but also still be in the opposition or in the ruling party, which they are, to continue to give the support that this government need now to be able to build the Zambia that we all looking for, or we all want. And a lot of international observers for the first time actually reported on the event positively, which is really, really we're surprised in any case, right? Nevertheless, they still had to talk about the reason why before, during the elections, there were a lot of restrictions, which maybe could have even added more to the electoral process. But I think Honorable Kapamba is right here with us to help us, because he's also a politician and had been in one of this constituency as a voter. So welcome, Oliver. I'm so sorry. What has been your challenge out there technically?
Oh, thank you so much, Dr. Susan.
Yes.
Good evening, my brother. Good evening, my brother there on the panel.
Good evening, Honorable.
Yes,
Mhm.
I think my problem was the network, and the application was tripping, so I couldn't come in
Really?
time.
Oh.
Yes, please. I'm glad I'm here finally.
Yes, we're really glad you're here
Yes.
because it keeps kicking you out. And I really hope that, you'll be here because you're really, really relevant because you are one of the politicians also that was in the whole process. What is it that you can tell the viewers or Africans watching why Zambians are jubilating that the incumbent president, or which party were you even representing? Were you for the opposition or the ruling party?
I was with just another opposition political party, and not
Okay.
the ruling party, and not the party that has formed government. I was with the other opposition party. But
Ah.
see, on the grassroots, I was still campaigning. I was still campaigning for Hakainde Hichilema because he was the potential president that we had. We
Mhm.
knew that these elections were more like a two-horse race. It was between the opposition UPND and the ruling party PF. So all of us, despite contesting on different tickets, underground we were campaigning for the presidential elect Hakainde Hichilema because we knew he's the one who was the closest and was the one who the people wanted. So coming to
Mm.
the question, why are people jubilating? This was more like a referendum vote. I think everyone who was voting, they had this in mind of trying to change the government because every political party when they are campaigning and they are trying to convince the electorates, they come with promises. So
Yes.
the PF party, when they formed government in 2011, coming to 2015 and 2016, they gave promises, they gave hope to the people. Every nation, not only in Africa, but world over, I think the less privileged are in larger population, and people are struggling with a lot of socio-economic ills, and they need to find hope in the government in terms of social services and other amenities. So in this case, the PF did not honor their promise, and actually the basic life, the cost of living and other social activities, I think worsened, and the people saw hope in Hakainde Hichilema and the UPND. And this is the reason why after they electing them and emerging as winners, I think people are almost celebrating as if it's a second independence that we have gained as a country.
Of
So I
course.
think this is the reason
Yes.
why. This is the reason why, because the PF government abrogated on the contract. I think every party is elected on a contract basis. So once you don't honor the contract, the terms of the contract, I think the people will show you that they are the custodians of the power that you hold. And this is what many politicians, especially in Africa, fail to understand, that the power that which they have does not belong to them. It is all people. So the people have the power to get it back and give it to whoever they want. So
Mhm.
actually, in summary, this is what happened in Zambia. The people of Zambia rose early in the morning around 03 a.m. When we went to the polling station, we found people already there. They are waiting for the ECZ to come and officiate and to open the polling
Mhm.
stations. So they were very much geared to go and vote the PF out of government because they didn't honor the promises.
Mhm. Um, uh, yes, it's the same thing. I mean, we saw in the other previous elections when Excellency Edgar was made president, this same kind of jubilation. I mean, not as compared to this, and now the incoming president Hakanda is now, and we're jubilating. How far are we sure that he's not going to make the same promises like the other one and not keep to them?
Thank you so much. On that one, I think we are going to wait and see. Although the hopes are very high, we expect the European government to have learned a lesson from the PF government, because
Yes.
the European government has it has been in opposition for over 17 years, if not 20 years. So I'm sure they have been taking down their notes and learning the weaknesses of the PF, and I'm sure they will not be able to disappoint the people, because based on that, and looking also at the candidate, the caliber of the candidates, HH, I think he's an economist, and he understands the economic details better than Edgar Lungu. So even his cabinet, I think, is going to constitute a lot of technocrats, because what we saw in the PF government is that there was a lot of politicization of government programs. I think there is a stage where a political party ceases to exist as a political party, and when it forms government, we want to see institutional government operating not as a political party. So we are very much expectant that the UPND government is not going to go in the same road that the PF went, where they carried on with all the political slogans. You know, it's like the government was more like a political party. So there must be a separation. We are expecting the UPND government to separate between being a political party and being a government in power, because we need to see institutions operating without political interference. And this is what destroyed the legacy and the good standing of the PF with the people, because there was too much politicking in the governance institutions. Exactly.
Yes. We are actually proud of you, Zambians, because the population that went out to vote was enormous. It was massive. And most of this population they were young people whom I know, according to your work as a mentee in the PLO Lumumba Foundation, had been advocating for the voices of the young people to be heard, not only in Zambia, but across Africa and beyond. And so you've been calling out for young people to take this responsibility, and you actually mobilized a lot in your community to vote for this. Now, do you see this as a wake-up call for other youths in other African countries to say, this is the time we have to rise up and make this change? If we do it like Zambia did, we will make a big difference.
Yes, please. Yes, exactly. You know, out of the 70% turnout of voters, registered voters in this past election, I think over 60% or so were youths, were young people. Of course, we're not forgetting our mothers, the women. And this only shows that, and on top of that, because actually the UPND party was being teased some years back, that it is a Facebook political party, and it's going to form government on Facebook, because it had a larger following on Facebook, and most of the Facebook users are young people. And actually, because in the face of the COVID era, the PF government banned political rallies. We didn't have political rallies, so most of the campaign messages and the audience that UPND party used was through Facebook. And coming to the issue of young people, so the UPND party, I think, won the hearts of thousands of young people in Zambia. And this is the reason why young people, and of course, they are the most affected when it comes to issues of education, issues of employment, and other social issues that young people are grappling with because of the ailing economy. So this was more like a youth agenda to vote out the government which was in power from 2011. So what we are expecting to see now is that the UPND should not only ride on the shoulders of young people and not hear their cries, because they are going to be given the same red card that was given to PF. And in terms of leadership and participation in governance, you want to see many positions, not really many positions, but sensitive positions also be given to young people to lead as leaders. All we don't want is to just see youths like it was in the previous government to just go and with a begging bowl to the politicians to beg for crumbs and to beg for for favors. We want to see young people empowered based on merit. Young people empowered based on a good system that has been established to benefit everyone. Because what we are saying now is that it is not only the young people who are in UPND who should be empowered by the government. We want to see across the country young people who are energetic, young people who have the right minds, young people who have the passion in them to drive the agenda of the country, to be recognized and be given an equitable environment where everyone should participate. Either they are UPND, they are PF, or they are whichever part they're coming from. What we want to bring as an intersection set into everything is that everyone who is a Zambian and is a young person must have access to the systems and to the provisions of the government which are laid to the young people. So we want to see the young people being recognized and also being sent even in foreign mission to save the country.
Absolutely, that is great. That is great. Now, we are on the Pan African Daily TV, and you know that our mission is connecting the diaspora and the mainland continent Africa. Now, Zambia is proving to be responsible. The youth of Zambia are proving to be intelligent and smart, and so even the elected government is also, I think, if we look at his electoral strategy, like you said, a lot of people are saying, or even when I looked at it all, I like, oh, wow, did he try to imitate President Donald Trump? Because actually the social media was the hike that he actually used to overcome the strategy of President Lungu, who actually banned those elections or those manifestations or campaigns during the time in the name of COVID. But apparently, even those COVID funds were mismanaged. And so even Zambian is indebted right now at a very high rate because of the mismanagement of the COVID funds that he himself was even advocating that the opposition should not have an urge. But we saw that President Hakainde went on the social media strategy, went on tweeting, went on listening to the voices of the young Zambians, and even engaging in their activities like soccer. He was more and more of what you people call Bali. What is Bali?
I think I'll give that to my brother to respond.
Oh yeah, Bali is the term used in Zambia. You know, it's more like it's used in the streets and also, you know, to those who would want to just, you know, have a free conversation with their fathers. So they would call your father, you know, I would call my father Bali, you know. It's just more like a term where you joke around with your father. And that's the term President HH gave to himself to say, you know, I'm your Bali. So, you know, as young people, we felt that, you know, I think he's open enough to us and we can speak to him and he can hear us because he's our Bali. And that's how that term came about. And, you know, I think the president just had good strategies of winning the hearts of young people, because if you saw how he have been interacting with us as youths, you know, he could have given us a platform. He could always give us a platform where we can express ourselves, and he listens to us, and he continuously, you know, repeated the term to say, you speak, then we act. You speak, we act. And that motivated us to say, even when he goes in government, he enters government, he's going to listen to us because he has given us a space, you know, to express ourselves to him. So he understood what we were going through on the ground. And because of that, it helped him to win our hearts, and we voted for him. And he won this election resoundingly. So yeah, that's our Bali.
He was very, I like one of his prominent tweets always saying that Bali would fix it, right? Bali would fit
Yes.
Zambia. And of course, that's one of the tweets that actually pulled my attention to follow that process up. But also, when I saw, for instance, Honorable that the ADDI already met with the incumbent president, and it was very promising that they're going to open up the process of, reintegrating and giving opportunities out there for the diaspora to come to Zambia, particularly with the influence of the Chinese there. Those opportunities in the mining sector or the agricultural sector. Do you see that same procedure going on with this president? Is he open to saying, hey, my children, come back home? Africa is promising for you, and that's why I'm paving the right passage for you.
Yes, thank you so much. Quite all right. We all of us are complaining. I think foreign investment, increased foreign investment in the country was one of the reasons why many Zambians realized to say our resources are being taken away from the country, and we are benefiting less from our resources. And the coming in of Africans, or to say Zambians who are in the diaspora, to invest in the country, I think is the welcome move. Except that, this government, which is just exiting from the state house, I think left certain policies that most of us, we don't even know. They signed contracts, say with the Chinese, whom we are even owing millions and billions of dollars. So I think I'm not seeing this government coming into power to completely write off those contracts. I think also international bilateral ties are very important. I'm sure the government, with its excellent in an intelligent personnel, they are going to make sure that they don't just cancel all the contracts, but in a way they should allow us ourselves, the Zambians, to invest in our own economy. They should allow Africans who are in the diaspora, the Zambians most who are in the diaspora, through the ADDI, of course. I'm sure they are pushing the agenda so that we can have direct investments that we ourselves can manage, so that we are able to return back a foreign investment, return back the profits into the country. Because most of the big problem that we have now is when I'm not an economist, but we have been following what is happening in the country. The debt burden has been too much. And this, one of the reasons, again, why this government has been kicked out of the office is because of the debt burden. They borrowed too much without any sustainable plan and repayment plan on how they can pay back. Most of our GDP, I think, we didn't have any more than 10% to invest back in the economy from our GDP. Most of it was paying the debt, and also a small percentage of it to pay civil servants, the government employed employees. And we just had a small percentage, I think less than 10%, to invest back in the country. So that's why our economy was not growing, because much of our GDP and annual collections of funds and revenue was going to a debt service. So as a result, we had no option but to continue borrowing, and this also led in the situation where the government started even paying their workers on time. The government could not pay the retirees, those who have retired from the civil service. So the debt burden kept on piling and piling. So because of this, the government went into more debts with the Chinese, with the IMF and the like. So when it comes to investing back in the country, I don't think the government is going to do away completely with the maybe Chinese investment and other foreign investment. I think they'll look into a lot of issues to do with policy and make sure that we don't create a bad reputation on our bilateral ties profile.
Right. The one question that we are asking, or Africans should be asking, or you should be thinking, apart from the fact that we wanted Edgar Lungu to leave, is the debt situation of Zambia. I mean, I can say Zambia is broke as of now. Because if you look, Zambians are paying, or the Zambian government is paying 30% of its GPD just as a interest rate on the debt, not even the payment.
Yes.
30% of your GDP goes to the interest rate on the debts. So if you look at that, did the incoming president give a strategy how he is going to recover this economy and put it back on trail? Or we were just excited to say Edgar has to go, but because he's an economist, was there a plan? How did he convince you that he will make up for these mistakes? When I say you, I'm talking about the voters and the Zambians that went out to the street. Were you aware of the debt situation? You like a politician, yes, but the Chongo. And now imagine that, 30% of what you get from 100%, you're paying just the interest rate on it, on the debts, not even the debt itself. So did HH tell us anything how he's going to recover this situation?
Yeah, I guess that question is coming to me.
Anyone can answer. Both would have to answer.
Yes, please. I can take a piece of it. I can take a piece of that question. Yeah, I can take a piece of that question. Yes, the European government had a very clear policy on the mining sector, because the mining sector is more like the engine of our economy. Yeah. So when we look at how much we are producing in terms of copper and how much copper is costing now, copper I think is costing the highest in history. It is slightly above 10,000 US dollars per ton. Okay, 10,000 US dollars per ton. That's how copper is costing. So when you look at our export, copper is exported in raw material form, and most of the mines in Zambia are owned by foreign investors. So there is need actually for the European government, according to their promise, to restructure the tax system in the mining sector, because the mining sector doesn't pay more taxes back into the economy compared to even other small companies and even Zambian-owned companies. So the European government talked about restructuring the taxation policy with the mines, so the mines will start paying better taxes back to the country, and of course running some of the mines as a government, so that when we sell the copper, the money will directly come into the government treasury. And one of the other policies that the European government talked about was the zero tolerance to corruption policy, because one of the channels through which we have lost so much revenue in the country is through corruption. The outgoing president Edgar Lungu led the most corrupt government in the history, where we saw just ministers who didn't even have businesses, politicians who never had businesses, they became millionaires overnight. You look at their property, you look at the cars, the split of cars that they park at their houses, you look at the mansions they have built. So you see, even most of the debt which the government contracted to go towards the construction infrastructure and everything, over 50% of it went in politicians' pockets. So this is where we lost much of the revenue of the nation. It's through corruption. So if the European government stick to their policy and the promise of not tolerating corruption, I think they are going to have enough revenue to channel back into the country, revenue to build schools, to build hospitals, and employ more nurses, and buy more medicines, buy more desks, and employ more teachers. So then we are going to say the European has fulfilled their promise.
All right. No,
yeah,
just Chongo, hold on. Chongo, hold on. Let me just come there a little bit. Is it not necessary that Africans start thinking that you talked about the corruption, or the 50% of this revenue went into their private pockets? shouldn't they be held accountable? I mean, if you look at the outgoing president, I mean, we are happy that he conceded to that elections. But he was happy giving a handshake and like, yes, okay, I accept the defeat. But it could also mean that I'm happy that you take the load off my soldier, right? Being happy doesn't really just mean that it's a peaceful passation, but it's somehow like, I messed up this government and I'm happy that you're going to carry this load. So isn't there a policy to hold even them, I mean, to bring them to trial, to bring part of that money or most of that money that was stolen as a recovery debt back into the coffers of the government?
Yes, there's a direct policy. That's why Eda said that the PF government pointed.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
All right. Chobo, just go on. I think he's having some network issues.
Yes. Starting from the question you posed earlier to say, how did he promise us to say he's going to turn things around? I think the president in his last campaign message, he said in the mining sector, he's going to allow the investors not only to come and exploit or begin to mine in the country, but they will have to partner with Zambians for them to operate or to work in Zambia. So it will no longer be the way it was in the previous regime where investors could just come and begin to mine without Zambians being part of that exploration of minerals and everything. So he said he's going to make sure that those who come to invest to mine in Zambia, they have to partner or to work with the Zambians. And that gives us hope that at least Zambians will have a share in the mining, industries. And, another thing which he really touched on was to make sure that young people become productive, to diversify the economic, to diversify the economy, whereby we stop relying only on minerals, but we also invest heavily in agriculture, where those who are interested in agriculture, they would also do what they would want to do in the agriculture sector, and they will be empowered. They will be given resources to for their capital. Even those in mining sector, they will be given capital, even the machineries, the machines to use in their mining activities and also in agriculture. And that's that message gave us hope that this government is indeed coming to attend to our economic challenges. And the previous government is more like did not understand all that, because we find the situation whereby farmers, for instance, because farming is the biggest industry which one could imagine, because if you neglect farming, it means you have poverty, a high level of poverty in the country will rise. And if you invest much in agriculture, it will mean that there will be a higher food production, and the farmers also will be able to produce enough food for the entire country. And the farmers were more like, I would say, they were suffocated, whereby the price of farming inputs were so high that other farmers couldn't afford them. So these are the challenges the president promised that he is going to address, and there will be farmers will have a very productive or a conducive space for them to thrive and do their best in their sector. So these are some of the things which helped, the government, the president to win our heart in that regard.
Absolutely. I think 100% with you. Honorable, are you connected now? Can you hear us? Oh, okay. You're not there. I see him on my screen anyway. Yes, Chongo, I think you are very correct. And I think that's one of the strengths of your president. And I think you Zambians have to pick up that opportunity and that chance. Now we saw that most of the people that voted were young people. We are looking forward that the young people would take that opportunity, because it can also happen that on one other side, the young people are lazy, really lazy. And so if the government cannot invest in you and they see smart Chinese that are ready, they are hungry for innovation, for investment. And I mean, their country is so full that they don't even allow them to produce many, to have many children. So they come to a Zambian and they will have it like a prey. So they give up all their strength and their energy. They spend sleepless night. They work hard to prove to it that they want to make. And now we know most of these cases are people that really are jobless out there. Now, we are hoping that you young Zambians, is not only the president engaging you in the mining sector. The mining sector, I think, is a private sector which is very small, or the public sector too would have to take it. But we're looking at the youth to get engaged into agriculture, because number one, your president is a son of a cattle rearer. I mean, we saw it in the court, and everybody's like, from a farmer's son to a president of a country. And so he made his money through cattle rearing. When he studied in the UK, he came back and put investment in agriculture. And that is why he is really poking high and being in the world market to say, hey, we will bail Zambia out if I have my young people that trust in me and that would be ready to pull on this journey and pick up the chance, and we will make agriculture the first choice of our investment and put opportunities for the Zambians. You see it in that light as well, right?
Yes. One thing which I remember a few weeks ago, a certain Chinese investor mentioned that Zambians are not ambitious, and and I was very disappointed, and I was not happy with that statement. But I'm sure it's what they observed. It's according to what they observed in the country. So it all starts with let it be tried to the Zambian youths. Are they indeed lazy, or are they not ambitious? So if they are given opportunity to to be protected in their area, in the economic sector, like are there policies which allows them to operate and be productive as they would be expected to be productive? So if those policies are put in place, I'm sure the Zambian youths could do something for the country. And when we look at the president, he repeatedly said that I became successful because I was given an opportunity by the government. Several times have repeated that statement to say, with the government's policies at that time, which allowed youths to go to university free of charge, on bursaries, they were sponsored, and after graduating, they were given opportunities to win contracts in government based on their qualifications. If for your own information, or for for reference sake, the government, the president, the incoming president, was one of the evaluators. Immediately when you just graduated from university, should be a year after, he was awarded, he was scored by the government to evaluate the prices of the privatization which was going on at that time in 1998. He and you know, he benefited from the government. He was given employment or something to do in government, and that helped him to, you know, to be paid and be secured economic wise, and he's became successive out of all that. So this is what we expect from the government. It's not that the government should do everything for the youths, but we want the government to give opportunities to the graduates. Those who went to school and graduated and are qualified, let them be given opportunities to have contracts in government, also to be given a space where they can be, you know, a productive or innovative. We have inventors who could do something, or who could come up with something, helpful to the nation, but they haven't been given chance to, you know, that, or they haven't been empowered to continue with that, which they are doing for the government. For instance, at the University of Zambia recently, there were inventors. There were some youths who came up with an initiative where they could produce oil out of the waste materials, and that up to now we don't know what happened to those youths, if at all they were empowered to continue making that oil. We do not know. So these are the policies which we need in place, whereby it's, there's a policy in place which is there to make sure that those who come up with initiatives in societies, those problem solvers in communities, are empowered and made to be productive enough to contribute to the economy in the country and reduce the unemployment level in the country. And these are things which we really want. And to those, and after, if the government puts those things in place, that's when we can conclude to say, indeed, Zambian youths, if they fail, we'll conclude to say Zambian youths are lazy. But let it be tried now in this government that the youths must be given opportunities, and those who have initiatives, let them be empowered so that they can contribute to the economy of this country.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, that's correct. I mean, laziness is an overstatement, but it was just a means to say, this time, don't even rely on these governments. You have to take the opportunity. Yes. You have to seize it, right? You have to be smart enough to not even wait that, because, that's the problem. The problem is this promises that is made. We all believe in it, and they come and you start seeing all the variations or variables happening on the continent. So what we expect is, you have given the president a chance, and the president dare not mess up with this chance. But then you also still have to be more and more careful from what you have learned from the past president to say, oh, we are not going to just listen to these promises. We want to put a track record to hold you accountable, but also to seize those chances and wherever the opportunities are, right? So we're calling also on the diaspora. The diaspora should be very, very confident now to say, of course, at least one country, many we know, but at least Zambia is providing a very lucrative space for us to come back home, right? Not only as investors, but to bring the skills that the young people need to be able to drive this productivity. Because you can have all that even the opportunities, but you don't have the know-how, it's still going to be a problem. So, and I know from our own system, it's just about theory. As you're talking about university graduate, I mean, the system of education that we already are being given is already a graduate to fail, not a graduate to succeed. You leave as a graduate being a teacher, and then you want to go and start agriculture. That wasn't what you studied. And there are no vocational trainings to put that in place. So we're really calling on experts out here. Zambia is now widely open. The gates of Zambia are open for the diaspora. Now we would have to start looking about citizenship, about opportunities in the Zambia for us to come back home and take these places that the Chinese are occupying? Or why not? There's still enough space on the continent, particularly in Zambia, where we are going to position ourselves. So it's about positioning. It's about positioning. The young people are ready. The young people in Zambia have taught you, they have proven to you that they are ready. They have taken back the democracy, as we know, or as they say, of their country. They have chosen a leader that is open, that knows the diaspora, knows the continent, has been an economist, has come from nothing to be where he is today. So he understands actually what investment mean. He understands what the diaspora mean. He studied in the UK. Unfortunately, all of them do study in the UK. And but why not? If he has the Pan-African spirit and the zeal and the interest of Zambian, like I saw in his slogan, Zambians first. So if he has Zambians first and Africans first, then we are very, very confident that Zambians are on the right track. And at least we must have saved one country in this decade. I want to thank every one of you that is putting out some comments out there. I don't know whether you're seeing the comments to take some of those questions. But we're opening up also the lines for those that have comments or questions or I don't know what on this topic about Zambia. We know that Zambia is really a critical country where we see the Chinese police, their own police stations, their own mining and copper companies, and they're mistreating even the Zambians that are working in those industries. And it is a crazy situation overall in Zambia. And so, but this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity for the diaspora. You know, when you see a challenge, then you see an opportunity opening up doors to you. So what is your take on the diaspora coming back? Citizenship, do you think that should be the next procedure? Because agriculture is one of your stars out there, as a matter of fact.
Yes, you know, trading with some countries like China, there's no problem because everyone is trading with China this time around. But you know, in the case of Zambia, you'd find that some policies which are there, they prioritize the interests of the Chinese, which should not be the case. And when we look at the investment style in Zambia, anyone who is able to invest in Zambia is very much welcome. No one is, maybe no one can just, or maybe the government does not say this one can invest, this one can't invest. But what we want is to have investors. And when I call upon those in the diaspora to come and invest in the country, they should also put in mind that they are not only coming to invest in Zambia, but they are investing back in Africa, because if they invest back in Zambia, it means they are improving the lives of Zambians. And this is the problem which we have been having throughout, where Africans do not, or maybe don't see the value of investing back in Africa. And those foreigners, they are free to come and invest because they know, or they realize the value of what is in Africa. So if those who are in the diaspora begin to realize that the potential which is in the diaspora is what the African continent needs, is the time when Africa will begin to rise up. Because if you look at the way the investment has been done in, or the way the slave trade, beginning from the slave trade, how it was done, there was, it was called the triangular slave trade, where they could get manpower from Africa, take it out there to produce, and then they bring back the produces from the outside to come and sell in exchange with the manpower from Africa. So there is a lot of manpower out there, and there is a lot of resources in the diaspora which should be invested back in the continent, so that we begin to also improve the economic system, the economic statuses of the African continent. And this is what we have been crying for, because look, after they work and produce in the diaspora, and they are investing just there again in the diaspora, and those other civilizations, they are coming in Africa to exploit and get raw materials, take outside there again to produce and bring back added value goods in Africa. And this is what we don't want. If there are those who are able to add value to these materials in the diaspora, let them come and add value in the continent. After adding value, let us export those added value goods to the outside. By doing that, we are increasing, the GDP of the entire continent, not only for Zambia, but for the entire continent, because we have production within the continent. So let's have those who are in the diaspora. The manpower in the diaspora is needed in Africa. We need to begin to invest back in the continent. Let us produce and add value to our raw materials in Africa and export the added value outside the continent.
Thank you very much. I think that's well said. Is Honorable there? I hear him twitching. Honorable, are you there? All right. I think no more we hear from him today. Anyway, that's a very good perspective. And honestly speaking, the issue, I think, with the diaspora is not even the lack of the will. It has always been the leadership. The problem has always been the leadership. And now that we are looking and anticipating that Zambia could have a good leadership, it would be okay. I don't think the others see the opportunities. They just see the way, buying their way through the continent and getting what they want. On which the diaspora, honestly, is coming to home. They're coming home. They're not coming like foreigners to leave some money and to make some business, but they also coming home. And so coming home, they have the interest of pushing Africa forward. So they don't have the interest to come and bribe some government, take some contracts. The diaspora will do that with the left hand. It's the same system like the others, yeah, that has been taught always to exploit. But then the need and the purpose of the diaspora is we are coming to build home. We are coming back home. It's a difference. It's a whole lot of difference. And so the diaspora is more comfortable when they see a leadership that is working in the interests of Africa. And why not? They would invest. They're so confident and so happy to see a leadership that, yes, that is anxious to move Africa forward. So, Honorable.
Yes, please. Yeah, quite an interesting issue here. I think we must commend and recognize the Africans in the diaspora for the work that they have been doing. The Africans, as in the diaspora, have been investing in education, in the education sector of many African countries by the way of paying for their leadership. I know many Africans who are in the diaspora, many Zambians who are in the diaspora, who have adopted kids that they are paying for in colleges, in universities, and in primary schools. They have also been helping here and there in their families with small capitals to run businesses. So already the Africans in the diaspora have been doing a great job, which most governments don't even do. So extending it to the level of now gaining confidence in the leadership of governments is what we need. This is what we need. We need the governments to show that they are managing the wealth of the countries properly. You know, they do away with the corruption, because, you know, many Africans in diaspora, they are dealing with a higher currency, greater than the currency of African countries. Talk about kwacha here. If someone sends me 5,000 US dollars, that's a lot of money for me to start business. If I'm given that money to run my own project, it's a lot of money. Just even a 2,000 US dollars, it's enough money for me to start a chicken rearing, a poultry for myself. You see? But for me to raise that kind of money for my salary, it's not possible. It can't even take it. It's more than 5 years to raise that money because of the harshness of the economy. So what we are saying is that for the like Zambia here, the European government, what we need is to see them put up good policies that are going to allow the flourishing of businesses for Zambians who are in the diaspora want to come and invest back in Zambia. We want them to see that they sweep away corruption. You see, because many Africans will team up. Zambians will team up maybe from UK, from the US, or from any other part of the world. They say let's raise capital and go and start some commercial farming in Zambia. But you see, when they just come to Zambia, they find very complicated policies. For them to just see the Minister of Agriculture, for them to just have access, and get good land, they will need to corrupt somebody. So that we don't want, because once we have such roadblocks in the plans of many Zambians who want to come and invest back, they'll feel frustrated and they'll go back. So what the first thing we want to do is that the playing field must be leveled. The government actually should be the one which must invite Africans to say, come home and invest in the country, because we know that once profits are made from all such investments, it's the government and its people are going to benefit. Now, if a foreigner invests, we've been having foreigners investing in the country. Where do they take the profit? They externalize all the profit. They take them back to their countries. Correct. They leave our land destroyed. They discharge chemicals in our rivers. They destroy our land. They destroy our rivers. Off they go. All they are just interested in is making profit. Now, what don't we have in Africa? What don't we have in Zambia? We have the larger population of young people who are energetic. They are eager. They are passionate. They want to work, which is human resource. We have the land, which is the natural resource. We have the water. We have the minerals. What don't we have? What we don't have, it is supporting policies and, of course, the capital to inject into any investment, any business. We want to see ourselves having industries producing our own goods and services, making tools within Africa, tools for agriculture, tools for fishing, tools for any other field that we want to venture in. We must stop importing all these into our country, because we have all the resources, but all we lack is industrialization and also capital and good policies. Exactly.
Yes. That is the spirit. Yes. That is the Africa that we want. And you Zambians are making us really, particularly young people, when I hear you, the drive and the push and the way you actually run these elections, we are super, super proud of you. And I think if we keep up like this, honestly speaking, Zambia would be another kind, the kind of Zambia that we have now would be history. And I see that happening a lot. And we don't need to export anything. We have a whole large market of 1.4 regional markets. I mean, local markets from villages to townships to neighboring countries. We don't even need to export anything to any person, whatever. We need to feed ourselves first. Yeah. We need to heal ourselves first. It's not even time for Africa to think that he could become an export market, right? We still need a lot to create amongst ourselves and to benefit from it before we start even thinking, do we have a leftover that we can export, if the need would even be. Yeah, but if we look at our growing population, I don't even see that happening anytime soon, particularly in agriculture. Yes, so I would like to open up the lines for anyone that is anxious to call to ask a question or to also contribute to the conversation today. It is Zambians youth and voices of Africans anticipating or already drawing some kind of expectation into what Zambia should look to or look out to in the next coming years. So there are more opportunities that are going to be open in Zambia, as we can see this kind of a leadership that is been there for 20 years and has missed 5 electoral processes to become in the leadership, and has been on it, has been on it in the prisons. I mean, HH has been in the prisons for more than 5 times, for just something to distract him and to kill his ambition to be a president, but he never gave up. So we have confidence in Zambia. They're going to do the right thing. And I think all of us in the diaspora should take that opportunity and a chance and not only focus on other countries, but we should start tilting our attentions to Zambia. Zambia is the place to go. That's why you see all the Chinese running out there. There's no country in Africa that has more Chinese than Zambia. So you can already imagine. And I think that's where we should even start. Honorable.
Yes, please. I think let me mention that I'm proud to be Zambian, and I
Yes.
think I've heard it from different tourists, and not only tourists, but our fellow Africans who have visited Zambia. They say we are the most welcoming country. We are the most smiling country in Africa. We like smiling. uh, you know, I want to give, I want to congratulate every Zambian who participated in these elections, all the political parties. I think we have demonstrated that democracy can work in Africa. Of course, we are talking about applying our own definition of democracy, but so far, this democracy we have is working in Africa because democracy is giving the people a voice and a choice to choose leaders for themselves. And we have demonstrated this 3 times. We have changed governments. It's difficult in any part of Africa to change a government. It's very difficult. It's difficult to unseat the sitting president. It's very difficult. True. But in Zambia, we have demonstrated this 3 times. In 1991, we had a new party which formed the government, the MMD party, after UNIP led the country for 27 years. In 2011, we also had the PF removing the PF, the PF removing the MMD from government. Also, just 2 weeks ago, we had the UPND and sitting the PF from government. So I want to commend Zambians, and may this be a sign and a sign of hope to many African countries to say democracy can work, it can thrive on the African soil. Let's give democracy a chance to grow. And I'm sure we are not going to have all these civil unrest and political politically engineered wars that we see across Africa. We can do it. We can do it. I think that's what I'm proud of, and I'm commending all Zambian president and political parties, and even for the outgoing party to concede defeat, And this also shows that we can have independent electoral governing bodies that can operate independently without interference. We want to give kudos to the Electoral Commission of Zambia for conducting such a free and fair election that did not have any lacunas that we could even petition, because the going party cannot even petition these elections because they were free and fair.
That's true.
So it can be done in other parts of Africa.
Yes, that is true. That is absolutely true. We also followed the process throughout, and everything was really correct. It was fair. That's why we're also proud and thanking that government out there, and particularly the electoral. I mean, for the first time, I'm telling you, go on the mainstream media. They would never say anything positive, you know, CNN, BBC, Al Jazeera, and all. But all the positive comments and all the news, whether it's from AFP and all these news agencies, are very, very positive and confident, and we hope that they're going to keep their hands off Zambia. Now, when you look at Zambia today, do you think late Kenneth Kaunda is proud? Your ancestor.
Yeah, I don't know if he can.
Go ahead, Chombo.
Yes, yeah, I'm sure the president is resting in peace now, and you know how I wish he was here to see how this went, because before he died, he had an opportunity to meet the incoming president, HH, at his residence, and we saw him blessing him, and that, Zambia, maybe to start from the political patterns in Zambia, the president-elect come from a certain region in Zambia, which was considered to be the minority by those who could, not hesitate to say these are the minority ethnic groups in Zambia, and they can never rule Zambia. And for a very long time, from the time when the UPND party was formed in 1998, this has been the message to this party or to the nation to say, the UPND will never rule Zambia because it's led by a Tonga president. I'm a Tonga, by the way. They have been saying the Zambia will never be ruled by a Tonga president. And for the first time in the history of Zambia, a Tonga president have been elected. So this gives us even a different impression of the celebration in Zambia, because others are celebrating that finally, God have smiled upon us, and the others are celebrating that we are now, it's more like a second liberation for Zambia and the like. So I hope, or I wished that the president could have lived a little longer to see this, because it almost divided the country. And that the president, Mr. Kaunda, is the first president to pronounce the motto "One Zambia, One Nation," and he wished to see a Zambia where all ethnic groups are represented, all ethnic groups are valued in the country. And if he had lived to this day, I'm sure he could have been more proud to see that at least his motto of One Zambia, One Nation has been given a new breath of life, and Zambia will continue, to live in peace, and will also continue to live in harmony with each, each ethnic group will have to respect one another and acknowledge that we are all one Zambia, one nation, and any tribe, any ethnic group can rule this nation.
Oh, that's so
Yes,
that's
and
so
just on that
wonderful.
one,
That's so
if you
touching.
allow,
That's so
if I
touching.
can
That's
allow
so
to
touching.
also add a word on what my brother said.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, please. Yes, please. I think I want to send my love to the Tonga people. Yes, during the campaigns, I think there was a campaign, a crusade against them. And I think this divided the nation. And this did not just happen during the campaigns. I think way past the other campaigns and elections, I think Hakainde has been stigmatized and discriminated against because of his tribal orientation, which us as the young people, this generation, there is a generation that don't subscribe to tribalism. As the young people, we have refused that. And actually, this is the reason why we rose up in numbers. One of the other reasons, of course, to say, let's show them that we are basing our president on merit. We know the man is qualified, the man is an inexperienced businessman, the man, he was labeled a criminal of privatization, and all sort of names was called. But I think all this just was an indirect campaign for him. So even the votes, how they came, because previous elections, he used to get even less than 100 votes in other regions of the country, like Luapula province, northern, eastern, and other parts of the country, except from where the region he comes from. But this time around, he got thousands of votes across the country. He even beats the ruling party in some sectors of the country where it was known to be their strongholds. So this was a national vote. It was a referendum vote, like we have said earlier. The entire country gave Hakainde Hichilema a square win. So this only proved that Zambia is not a tribal country. We don't want to entertain tribalism. Actually, we are also advocating that it is enshrined in the constitution to be a crime. Tribalism must be considered as one of the civil crimes. If you are found to be advocating for tribalism, you should be prosecuted. This is what we want to advocate for young people, because we don't want this country to be divided. We are reminded of what happened in Rwanda between the Tutsi and the Hutus. The genocide of Rwanda was sparked by careless tribal talks. And this is what we don't want in this country as young people. We are going to petition actually the government to enshrine tribalism in the constitution as a crime against humanity.
Wonderful. Excellent. I'm telling you, I'm loving this. I'm just all goose listening to this, because I come from a country where tribalism, the minority would never be would never rule Cameroon, and that's why we have this conflict going on because of the marginalized tribes. So you're speaking to me, and I see my own people in the same situation where another country, another brother side would marginalize the other one in their own country. I mean, brothers against brothers, or sisters against sisters. That is the most insane thing that is happening on our continent. It is not even but we still see this footprints of colonization and this and all this craziness that came to our continent. These are still the footprints of it. We make no mistake. We should make no mistake to jump on each other and say this. The issue in Southern Cameroon is Anglophone, Francophone, and the French, and like Britain and France, and that's really crazy. So I'm very, very happy that you are cleaning this footsteps and this footprint in Zambia to say no, even should be a crime against humanity. Of course it is. So I'm very, very happy, and I'm thankful that you're addressing this issue, Honorable. I mean, I don't. We are already congratulated you in your own political statement. Now, what do you look ahead? What do you see as a future for you? You said, "Oh, I'm not backing up. I'm going to work hard and to be a candidate." And remember, wherever you are, it is the Pan African Daily TV that it's on that platform. But once more, I really just want to share our condolences, particularly with you, Honorable, because I think a couple of days before this election, you lost your precious dear mother. But you never gave up. We still see you, going through the burial ceremony, but also still keeping up to your electoral campaign and your work on the ground. So that was too much courage, my brother. And that's really one of the reasons that we brought you as a guest on this show, to really sympathize, to say we understand what you went through, and that our condolences to you and your entire family. But one thing that we are sure, just like I asked before, let Kenneth Kaunda spirit has united Zambia, and also the spirit of your mother, for everything that you've done there, definitely have contributed to give you that energy, and your perspective can only grow bigger and bigger. Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
It is okay. It is okay. You're doing a very good job. What is your next step then? Are you coming on again? How long does this constitution go before we get into the next elections again?
Oh yes, this is not the end, but the beginning of my lifetime in politics. I think I identified politics as a field where I can represent the people properly. I think coming from the health sector, of course, I'm a nurse by profession, and I thank God that I have had my heart worked on to be moved by empathy, especially if I see those people are suffering and who do not have a voice, they're marginalized in society. And this, of course, moves me and gives me an opportunity to stand shoulder to shoulder with the even big people, because in African politics is more like a lucrative industry where people just go and amass wealth for themselves. And to tell you the truth, even the campaign trail itself is not a cheap
dispensation. It's very expensive. Campaigns period are very expensive, because every crowd, every audience you gather to speak to them, to give them a message of your manifesto and your plans, what you want to do, you must at least spend something. You must buy them something. You must leave them some cash, So it's just very much expensive to run as a candidate in Zambia, and I'm sure even in other parts of Africa. So it was not easy for me as a young person who has never worked years, who has never saved years, millions, so that I can use it in my campaign. But I used the little I have, and for my other supporters, they supported me by words of encouragement, by a few resources here and there. So I managed to do my campaign according to my capacity, and I managed to come second in my local government elections. I came second. So my plan is that, according to our constitution, which is a 5 years term, because the president serves for 5 years, the parliamentarian serves for 5 years, and the local governments serve for 5 years as well. So we are going into elections in 2026, and by the grace of God, we are going to have enough support, and we are going to use this experience which I just gained in the past elections, in the just ended elections, and to work on my weaknesses, and also amplify my strengths, and make more connections, and then see how I can participate again in the next election. But I'm not going to sit and fold my arms. I promise the people, and I want to embark on those small projects which I can manage to do in the community. This I will do because I promised them, and I want to give my colleague, the one who just won the local government seats, a good time, because he must know that I'm there to check whatever he's doing. And yeah, so I'm not going to sit back. I'm going to continue serving the people, registering people's complaints, and just being there for the people. And of course, working with the government of the day. Working with the government of the day. I'm very happy to work with the UPND government. If they call me or identify me that they want to maybe honor me with any position or any appointment, any job, I think I won't hesitate. I'll go for it, because the interest here is serving the people.
Absolute. I'm so proud. We are so proud of you. And yeah, but I think the one thing that we would start changing, because it's never going to be sustainable to always lobby and make campaigns and give money to people. So it's already influencing the mindset of the people. I don't know whether in this 5 years plan, it will be another step to start again educating the people on their processes, so that before they get there, they should be able to know what they're voting for, instead to be influenced by giveaways or food or drinks. And it is crazy on the continent how it works. Without those things, people are not going to vote. But you see, that's also one of the corrupt attitude. How do you want that I vote for somebody? So the people don't even know their rights. They're bought over by these politicians and campaigns. And we're looking for another sustainable way to educate the people about their rights and their responsibilities and their contribution to the government, so that they can freely now actually choose the candidates they want to. We are still looking. I know it's a long way, but we are starting, and we're really confident that in Zambia we will do it. As from us, we are assuring you, in as much as we stay and we are live on the Pan-African Daily TV, we're going to keep in touch with you. We're going to promote and support you, because we know you. You're coming from from us. We know your intention. We know your personality. It's all about working for the people. And so everything that we will do to support you, please, we did not do much this time. Of course, all of us are starting, but I can guarantee you 5 years is a long way. We must have gotten there. Okay. So I want to thank all of you actually for signing in. One last word from you, Chongo, before we depart, and Honorable. I think we are almost rounding up. Chongo?
I think I can't see him. Maybe he's been kicked out of the broadcast.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, my last words to the viewers and the people of Zambia is that I think let's not be quick to to be overexcited about this government, but I would maybe request the Zambians to give this government 100 days so that we begin to see the composure of the cabinet and the implementation of all the promises which have been given to us. And after that, we should not, we should not, fall in the same trap which the previous government, found itself into, because these are politicians we are dealing with. Politicians are very good at speaking, and what we want is the outcome or the results of what they are promising. So let's make sure that we make the government of the day work and meet our demands and meet those things which we have been crying for the past 10 years. And going forward, also, even if we voted for this government, if it doesn't meet our demands and the interest of our people, we'll have to hold it accountable as well, and we'll hold them accountable for also not giving a conducive space for the governance institutions to work effectively, because that's what we have been crying. So I would want to congratulate the president, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, for for the opportunity given by the people of Zambia, and looking forward to see more productive and his promises being fulfilled in his tenure of office. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much. I mean, that was very unique and straight to the point. Don't be so excited. It's too early to be excited about all this. We can dance and share. And we've always been caught in this trap. When a president is elected on the continent, you see people drink and get drunk. 3 days, people fall sick. Some of them don't even go to work, but also still to be caught in the same lies and tricks by the upcoming president. So I love that statement. Yes, we trust them, but control is much better than just trust. So we're going to keep our hands crossed and hope that this government is going to meet up with the demands of the Zambians. Honorable, your last statement?
Oh, yes.
Or your closing remarks?
Last year, yes, closing remarks. I want to extend my gratitude and appreciations for this privilege to just host me and allow me to come and speak among so many thousands and hundreds of Zambian youths and young people. I think my last word is that we are the government as the people. We are the government as the people. So in as much as we expect the government to deliver and to work, we must also deliver and work at our individual capacity. Because
Correct.
We elect the government, we are sure and confident that this government will perform. Personally, I am sure and I'm confident that this government is going to deliver. Looking at the caliber of the president himself, a man who has managed his businesses, a man who is a global economist, and there's just nothing that can make him fail, unless he just becomes maybe he allows bad people around him. And we are expecting after his inauguration on the 24th next week that he's going to institute a very strong cabinet. And according to his words, he said he's going to make people understand that he's not tribal. His cabinet is going to represent the entire regions of the country, and that's what we are expecting. So we are expecting, especially the young people, that we should not just fold our sleeves, but I mean, our arms. We should rather fold our sleeves and start working now. The government will create a favorable environment for us to venture into our respective passions and careers. I mean, so we didn't need to show for it that what we voted for is working for us. And on top of that, we also have to show that we are the leaders today. I want to encourage our fellow young Zambians that to lead starts now.
You know, we have a crop of our parents who are retiring, either in the civil service, in many sectors of the country, but they need to be replaced by us who are energetic, who are young, who are creative, who are exposed to the technology and other stuff. So we really need to be there and work hand in hand with our parents so we can build a country for ourselves and for our children. Thank you.
Correct. Thank you so very much. I mean, it was also a pleasure for you to share your perspective for a new Zambia or for the future of Zambia with us. We really appreciate your engagement, your contribution also to the nation. I think it's very obvious from what you're saying. It's a government to people. So you are the government. Sorry, everyone has to actually bring his own part of the contribution to the table. And I think you are doing a very, very wonderful job out there. Thank you so very much. And to all of you, to our viewers and our followers, we want to also thank you so very much that despite our 1 week vacation or absence of the Pan-African Daily TV YouTube, you guys have been supportive, you've been contributing, you've been sharing, you've been subscribing. And I think that's the spirit that we are experiencing. And we are thanking you for every support you do by sharing, by contributing, by commenting, by following, and by listening. And together we can bring our synergies together to build the Africa that we want, particularly giving ourselves the chance and the opportunities. But it's also a two-way, like, you know, the guests coming here to tell us about the situation in their home countries opens up a lot of opportunities on answered questions, questions that, you know, the main media or other people that are known Zambians would have to tell you. So we're listening to actually the Africans, and we're feeling the situation on the ground. So there is no way we can make a mistake. There is no way we can make a mistake in this time, in this point in time. So I want to thank all of you for coming. And tomorrow, again, we're going to be live the whole week, I think up to Sunday. We have a very chopped program on the Pan-African Daily, particularly because we've been we've been a little bit away on vacation, on a working vacation. You see, we're still tired. We're still carrying tiring faces because we went on excursion with children around, but we also had our own team meetings daily on the background to improve, and we have a lot of exciting projects coming up on the Pan-African Daily TV. Everything that we've been working on in the background is really coming to fruition, and we'll be presenting it to you as the program unfolds. So tomorrow, we have requested to to hold a conversation with Rutendo on the Afghan situation and the taking oh my goodness. I mean, this situation is so crazy. Each time I want to talk about it, I first of all have to hold my breath, right? Like Uganda is taking 2,000 Afghan refugees. That's not the issue. We know that the continent can host any, but that Uganda is not taking its diasporans. That Uganda is not even hosting its own refugees. That Ugandans are fleeing the country to other countries, and now Uganda is hosting 2,000 Afghans. That has caused a little bit of discomfort and malintention, and there's been a lot going on that Africans are saying, what is going on in Uganda? How when did it even start, right? We are still looking for positions and ways, and asking and begging and crawling and asking the leadership on the continent to open up every doors for its diasporas that were abandoned out here. Those who want to come back to the continent have to have the right to come back to any country where they choose to be. Yeah. But then we've never heard this kind of official statement, a press conference, as a matter of fact, saying, hey, come home, right? And like, you know, we are the most friendly continent. So we are always open, just like we opened our doors and you came and enslaved us and took away our intelligence. Now just come. We are very nice and welcoming people. I mean, Africans are actually pissed. I can say that. I'm so sorry for my language, but they are really grumbling and like, what is going on? So I hope if we could get Rutendo to chew it out for us, and he's currently doing that research there, he would confirm. But if not, we're going to have Reverend Dr. Ninina, who actually is even on the plan for tomorrow. It's just because we had the breaking news of this Afghan that we're trying to, kind of like replace. So if Rutendo doesn't confirm tonight or tomorrow in the morning, you don't see the flyers out there, just be sure that we're going to have Reverend Dr. Ninana on this topic of this is the spiritual time for Africans to wake up. It's not just only talking about politics and other things. We have to go back to understanding our connection with the universe and the dimension, and us like the African people, to pave a healthy way forward. So that's the program for tomorrow. And Saturday, we're going to be having also an important guest. I already announced that. So watch out for the flyers that are dropping. Please make sure you click subscribe and share. Hit the notification button. Hit the notification button. YouTube is not really... I don't want to say it before we shut down again. All right. So please hit the notification button in case of any adjustment or update or sudden changes that we'll make here. You get notified anytime soon. Or in case, who knows, something bad just happened to us, you get a notification. So thank you for being our guest, and continue to support, and we keep the spirit alive. One Africa for Africans worldwide. Good night. Bye-bye. We see us tomorrow. You are watching the Pan-African Daily TV with Dr. Susan Tata. The Africa we want. Unity, consciousness, our culture, our spirituality, our history. One Africa for Africans worldwide. Motherland's calling its diaspora home. Join my voice. Join my team. Join my campaign. Campaign 21 hashtag 1 million subscribers on the Pan-African Daily TV YouTube. Be a volunteer. Apply now. Be the new Africa.